going on, everybody? I'm up here at my man Josh's store today. Early Birds discount store. So if you ever in Erie, PA, come check it out. I'm gonna give y'all the grand tour. That's Josh right there.
How you doing, everybody? Early Bird gets the worm.
So Josh, while I'm going around real quick, why don't you tell the people like what type of stuff you sell for the most part?
It's all retail, overstock, shelf pulls, customer returns. For me, what works best is having a variety, so I don't just buy Target or just Dollar General. I get a little bit of everything. The meat and potato is Target, Amazon, Dollar General, and Walmart. That gives you a real good variety. I don't buy truckloads of anything. I go pick out my pallets, so I do pay a little bit more. I sell everything at half of whatever the retail price is and work my way down from there. So this is some of the items that I call retail ready. These are items that you can tell what they are. You know, the boxes are in good shape.
Right.
I price everything. I'll put their price on there. Like this item, their price is $4.80. I have it for $2.50. And then you'll see over here, these are examples of boxes that, you know, need processed, need gone through still.
What made you come up with this layout? Like, what was you thinking when you made this layout up?
I've always been a big believer the simplest solution is often the right one. And so this layout is based off of size, small, medium, large.
Right.
That way, whenever a pallet comes in, since you don't know what's going to be on a pallet, I have somewhere for everything to go. No matter what shape or size it is, there's a place for everything, which for me, that works the best. I have a processing room next door that the customers can't get to. And most of the time, I don't like to have stuff out on the floor that isn't ready.
Right.
That tends to be the stuff that they're most attracted to and that I know the least about. I haven't had time to look it up or anything.
What's going on with the rack? What you got?
Is
this just miscellaneous stuff or what?
Is all like next season. So you'll see right there is New Year's stuff. Right now, what we have out is Christmas. I have the New Year's stuff there ready to go.
Right. I see you got toys up there and stuff. Some toys
that's all
over here.
Summer, Valentine's, St. Patrick's Day, Easter, and a lot of summer stuff.
Yeah.
I use the middle racking for the usual, to be honest, is general stuff. Stuff that's maybe too big to be down on the floor or something that might sell, for example.
Right.
This isn't like a pool. You know, a pool isn't going to sell till summer. Someone might buy this dethatcher, though.
Right.
So I leave it out where they can see it.
And then you got stuff down here. This is just kind of miscellaneous right now.
Yeah, everything on these shelves is miscellaneous. Ideally, I would like to have a kitchen section, a sporting goods section, whatnot.
Right.
The nature of the pallet business is you can't do that. You know, you don't get enough of one item to have a
Plus,
whole
you still
section.
kind of getting things going though, too, right? You kind of just getting your setup. You've been open.
I've been open I've had this location for 5 months. I've been open for a little over a month. I had to move from a warehouse. This is all like the brown box section. Stuff that's maybe a little bit larger or there's not a big demand for. And I am actually planning on making this like a clearance section.
Yeah.
I have blankets and bedding. This is what I call the home improvement or man section. So you see there's a little bit of organization.
Right.
And as I get more and more inventory, I'll be able to organize it better.
You were saying you didn't want these here no more, right?
I want to get rid of these racks. They take up a lot of space, and there's not enough retail stuff on there to justify the space. Like if you buy every single item on both of these, it's like $12.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of space it's taking up. What works really well in our market, we live in Erie, Pennsylvania. We are a poorer town. A lot of our industry is left. The number one most Googled word in Erie County is thrift stores near me. So I have dollar bins.
Right.
And everything in this bin is $1 or less.
And your bins do pretty good, don't they?
Like this that says it's $1, then the price is 50 cents. The bins are, the bins are the best, man.
Yeah, I know. I
It
know you
brings
always say
a lot
that.
of people in. You get rid of a lot of product this way. You're not really making much money on this. Like this thing that I'm selling for 50 cents, I probably have 48 cents into. But it brings a lot of people through. Then they're able to see the larger items that you are making.
Right, right.
And most people what I like about the dollar bins is it kind of assures no one leaves with nothing. Everyone's got a buck, right?
Right.
So they constantly buy something. It is very overwhelming when you rock in here because it's new to our area. There's not a lot of people that do this, and the people that do this don't do it the way that I am. A lot of other people tend to charge a higher price for this stuff, where I'm willing to let it go to keep the system moving.
Now that's something we was just kind of talking about right before we start this video. What's the difference you see between the time you started? Because how long you been doing this all together? Because I remember we were talking how you started off on the side of the street, right?
Yeah, I've been doing this for a little over 4 years now. When I started with I think 4 pallets. And off the top of my head, I would say that is probably $2,000 in that range.
Right.
And I would have to drag tables out every morning. It was like a yard sale, you know, and I'd just fill up the tables and I'd have to break it all down and take it back inside at the end of the day. It was a lot of work, but it helped me get started. And then I moved into a small location that was, I believe, 800 square feet.
Was that one on West 26th first before State Street? Or
No, that was on West 12th Street.
West 12th Street.
So my first retail location,
I know what you're talking about.
Which I highly recommend this for people just starting out. I was right next to a very high traffic area. It's a local place called Gem City Diner. And that's actually where the name of the business came from, Early Birds. Because they would open at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, they closed at 2, and most of the clientele from there is older people that love this kind of shopping. So that helped got me started, and then I moved into a bigger location. I'll skip over the State Street thing for time purposes. I moved into a bigger location that's about 1,200 square feet. I was there for a couple years. At that location, I just did $1 and $5 items, like a Five Below basically. It was all bins on one side, and the other side was $5 items. I used that to springboard me into this bigger location, which total combined between this side and the other side is about 3,000 square feet. And now I'm able to do the small stuff and the bigger stuff without having 2 different locations. So I always, you know, previously I've always had to have somewhere to store the stuff. Here I have storage and I have retail space. It's kind of the best of both worlds.
Right. If you need anything, just ask. We just
She's good.
Yeah.
She's in here every day.
So, and then what you got going on over here? You got your toys and stuff over here.
Yeah,
Plus
like
you got.
I said, I do my best to organize it loosely. So like this is the toy section, but you'll see there's Christmas stuff in it. And I even have it separated, girls' toys, boys' toys.
Right.
On the wall, you'll see coats, clothes. I also, besides buying pallets, I buy out stores that are closing down. So you'll see stuff in here that doesn't have tags on it. That came from someone.
You even got a few refrigerators and some appliances and stuff.
Not appliances. This is something new that we're doing. I have a friend that owns an appliance store. Well, they're just getting started. So to help kind of build awareness, because I have more foot traffic.
You talking about Chris and them, right?
Yeah, Chris and them. I let them put some appliances up in here just to get their name out there. They're still supposed to be bringing me signs and stuff and haven't.
Right.
And then this is kind of an example of how stuff comes in. You know, it's in boxes. You don't know what's in the box. You have to open it, look it up. I use the Walmart app and Amazon app primarily, or Google Image. If it has a barcode, then, you know, you can scan it, figure out what the retail price is, and then mark it at half price. The other benefit to that is you get to learn, you know, Walmart and them have descriptions, detailed descriptions. So it's like an easy way to learn about the product. You get a lot of stuff that's unscannable, though.
Right.
Like maybe DVDs or clothing. I don't know. Sometimes the barcode is covered up. This would be a good example. The barcode's covered on this because it has a sticker on it. That came from Walmart, and that's part of their system is they categorize it however they do. But one way or another, you have to deal with whatever comes in.
Right.
I know a lot of people get discouraged by pallets because it's not all quick, easy to sell items. Sometimes, I could show you next door, I got probably 2 pallets of car parts laying around. Those came off the 3PL program, and I know a lot of people complained about that. And I think what separates me is, I'll find a way to sell whatever it is. I know we talked about that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was asking me, how do you sell it? And I just lower the price until it sells.
Well, that goes to a point then. What's like the biggest thing you've seen as far as the people who started when you started up till now and them either succeeding or failing, and what has kept you in the game over them?
The biggest mistake I see people making is they look up the retail price and they want to sell it for what the retail price is. This is the liquidation business. So the reason why we're even able to buy it is because the retailers have determined it's not worth retail value anymore. You buy at 10 to 25% of retail. I sell at 25 or 50%, so I'm still doubling my money.
Mm-hmm.
I have an open door return policy. I let people return anything because I don't check everything. The stuff can be damaged. It can be missing pieces. I try to be real open about that and tell the customers too,
right?
Which I think is something else that helps me. Is, people, just because they're selling it at half price, they still expect the full price service.
Right.
And a little bit of knowledge goes a long way. Just telling people, hey, I don't work for TCL. I don't work for Samsung. I didn't make this stuff. I can't give you the same warranty they can. I can sell it to you at half price. If you have any trouble, you can return it.
Yeah.
And just being fair and honest with people is definitely a big part of it.
So you think a lot of people just price themselves out of business for the most part?
I know they do.
They start getting greedy.
Yeah, they start getting greedy. It's the most common thing I see where, they start off thinking that I call it like the lottery mentality. Everybody thinks that they're going to get this golden ticket. So you go buy a pallet for $400 or $600. They're expecting to retire. They're going, now they're on Forbes 500.
I know, right?
It is not that. I promise you it's never going to be that. If it was that, the retailers would keep
making it sound like this takes some work and some effort, man.
It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort. I know something you've probably heard me say before is cardboard alone will discourage most people. I spend hours a week just taking cardboard to the recycling plant and emptying it out. Luckily, I'm blessed in the fact that I'm only a couple blocks away from a recycling center. So, but it hasn't always been that. I used to have to break them all down, tie them up, meet the garbage men out in the morning. They'd be mad as ever.
And like we were just talking about, it's just you, right?
It's just me.
You got your daughter, you got other responsibilities, but then you got to stock the shelves, you got to get the inventory, you got to travel. So
yeah, and the customers are very demanding. I'm not knocking the customers for being demanding. They don't understand entrepreneurs are a small percentage of the population. Most people are hourly employees.
Right.
So hourly employees don't have the mentality it takes to be their own business owner, or else they would, And a lot of times, Walmart, Amazon, McDonald's has given them so much leeway, they expect that at every store they go to.
Mm-hmm.
So I know one of the biggest problems I face is I'll get messages at like 3:30 in the morning of someone who wants to buy something. Before I even wake up, I got 17 messages telling me how I don't know anything about business because I haven't responded to them yet. They just don't know that one person could even do this.
God forbid you go to sleep.
Yeah,
right?
God forbid I go to sleep or, go do work somewhere else or something. So I would say that's probably my biggest struggle is being able to be a dad, a boyfriend, and, I do computer repair work for corporate America, so I'm blessed in the fact I can pick and choose my jobs.
Right.
But I still have to do them.
Right. Right.
And, that just adds to the difficulty. Obviously, I've made it work. So it is a lot of work, but it's worth it. Some of the benefits I don't like to talk about, just the bad stuff, is getting to hear people's stories. It's the craziest thing, man. I don't care what any item in here. You'll get one person that comes in and is like offended that you have it, and you'll hear every kind of story in between. Like someone will be so happy, great grandpa Abraham Lincoln, and they've been looking for this their whole life, and here it is, only $1, and you have it, and that's kind of fun. I would say opening the boxes is fun, but it isn't anymore. It used to feel like Christmas, which I think a lot of people get into.
That's what we were just talking about, right? How the inventory's changed over time.
Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit. How have you seen it change from maybe 3 years ago till now?
The biggest change in our local area, we had a pallet house open up, and that brought on an influx of people trying to do this. They all thought they were going to get rich, and so they were paying more for inventory than, like I would, or somebody that's been in the game for a little bit.
Right.
I've seen a lot more people become couch brokers. Facebook has added to that, where you see people selling truckloads. And I would say the biggest change has been price has gone up and quality has dropped a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
In the sense that, pallets are getting gone through more, they're touching more hands before they're available for sale. And because of that, it has gone harder. So it's more work than it used to be. To make up for that, what I've done is I've expanded my online sales. So there's nothing in here that's not worth more online than it is at the price I sell it in store. It's just a matter of work, convenience. Like I said, I do this by myself. So it is easier to put it on a shelf, put a sticker on it, and just wait. So what I do now is I'd say anything over $100, and it's not just a value thing. It's a shape, size, how much is it going to cost to ship it? Is it convenient, easy? Those kind of items I look for, and I post those online, and that helps, bring my profits up a little bit.
But you really like this model over all that online stuff.
I love this model over online. Online, like I said, is a lot of work. In the sense that you get tons of questions, which don't necessarily, I call it tire kickers, like a used car salesman, people that come and you'll spend hours with them and they don't buy the product.
Yeah. You ain't got to worry about getting suspended.
Right. As a small business owner, as a father, a boyfriend, I value my time. I'm getting old, what I mean? Seriously. I know I look young, but I turn 44 next in a few months, and I value my time. That's why I got into this business, is to get out of the computer repair stuff, because that required me to be on the road a lot. So I was always traveling, never home, with my first 2 kids, and now my younger daughter. I want to be involved. Just giving money is great and commendable.
But this gives you a little more freedom.
This gives me more freedom. She comes to work, what I mean? In her head, she owns this business. She calls herself the owner. I call her boss. It gives us the ability to spend time together when normally I wouldn't have that. Obviously, I do make some profit off of it. I always reinvest into the business. So, if I bought 4 pallets last time, I'll go back and buy 5 pallets the next time, and continue to grow. I don't know that I want to grow too much more than this, because with growth comes more expenses.
I think that's an important point too, because a lot of people online talk about growing and people want to get to certain levels, but I think an important thing to realize, is when is enough, and for you as a seller, right? So what made you come to the point where you feel like, I could do more, but I don't? Like, what goes into that decision for you?
I would say, I'm sure anyone watching this video can attest, workforce isn't what it used to be. People want paid higher and they don't work as hard. So one of my big decisions, I used to have 2 locations. The whole reason I sold the other location is because I couldn't keep it staffed. And anyone that did want to work, they wanted $20, $25 an hour to run a register at a small business. It's just not worth it. And, people don't come in, they call off, they want to do things different. I found myself battling with people more, because it's a small business. I don't have a training course like Walmart does or McDonald's.
Right.
Do the
policy book.
the policy books. I don't have
Watch
all
these
that.
videos.
Yeah, watch these videos. Make sure to cut this box at a 45-degree angle so you don't break nothing.
Don't pull the knife toward you. Make sure you cut away.
So I don't have that, hopefully someday. But like I said, I don't want to grow too much more. Some companies, I don't know if they're all over the place, but Big Lots, Ollie's, Innovage, they all started off doing the same thing I'm doing.
Right.
And what happened is they got too big. Then they had all these employees. They had to raise their prices. Let's face it, the quality on these products is not increasing.
Right.
It's decreasing.
Right.
So if I increase my expenses, I'm decreasing my profit margin.
Well, especially with the economy going the way it's going now, right?
That's what I do. Another plus about this business that I really like is, regardless of what happens in the economy, I don't know about the places you live, but like I said, in Erie, there will always be a market for thrift stores or secondhand shops, things of that nature. Even if the dollar goes to bed or whatever, and it's no longer worth money, you still have the barter system. You have products.
People are always looking for a deal. I always say this on my channel, man, and tell me if you agree or not. Reselling is one of a business that you can call foolproof because there's so many ways to do it, and if you do it right, there's just so many outlets and so many things you can do. This you really can't fail if you can get the merchandise and give people a deal. What you think about that?
I think that's spot on. One of my mentors, Jeff Lewis from AXI Wholesale, Asheville, Ohio, you can look him up, you can call him. He's a broker. He supplies me with all of my inventory. And I was lucky to find him first. He's honest. He's a retired cop.
Yeah, he got a big operation.
A lot of time in the business. He understands it. So that's been an asset for me, is having a trusted source, which I would say that's very important. Super important. Get a trusted source. Don't just go on any website and buy off of anybody. I see the horror stories all the time. They got me for all my money, and now I got all these empty boxes. This is the liquidation business. There are a lot of scammers. It runs off the internet's full of scammers. So it's not exclusive to this business. But something Jeff told me when I first started out is, I said, well, what do you think the best road to take is? Should I be an appliance store? Should I be this, that? Because like you said, there's a million different avenues.
Right.
And what he said is, in his 30 years of doing this business, it usually tends to be more about the work ethic of the person than whatever business model they choose. So, you have to be willing to put in the hard work, the late hours, the amount of sacrifice that I've had to give up just to get this place has been amazing. And I truly believe most people would have quit. And
I know just in a short amount of time, I know you for about a year or so, you've been through a lot in just that amount of time.
Yeah. And again, scams are high. We laugh about this. When I first started, I wouldn't say like the first time, but maybe the third time I went and bought pallets. I bought 4 pallets, and 3 of them were very heavy on adult diapers. And I'm sure we could go around here right now. 4 years later, I still have adult diapers. And you have to keep in mind, that was very difficult at that time. That was probably all my savings.
Tell the truth. You probably thought when you got them, like, I know people going to want these Depends. Who wants to go in the store and get them, right?
Nobody wants, and they're such a slow mover.
I know it, man.
But what I did in that particular instance is I hopped on the phone. I called around to all the retirement homes, to the hospitals. I ended up finding a local one that bought like 2 full pallets, which was at least able to get me my money back.
Right.
So then now I still had 2 pallets of diapers, but I just gradually mix them in, and I think that was important for me to have that happen early on.
It's a good lesson, right?
It was a really good lesson. It taught me, going back to the car parts, it taught me to be creative. Instead of having the mindset that I'm going to buy pallets and I'm going to retire off of one trip to the pallet house, It taught me that it's not always easy, and that you have to be willing to work hard when the workload gets hard.
And think about the relationships you build when you got a problem like that, and you got to reach out to people and you got to make these calls. I mean, those are new relationships, right? So maybe if you come across something else, now these people know you gave them a good
Right.
deal. And so it's easier to offload some of those things that might usually be problems, right?
You're a good example of that. So I met you through this business, and now you specialize in makeup. So now anytime I get makeup, I call Eddie.
I know, right?
And that's so helpful. It's so helpful to have those outlets to get rid of stuff that. And it's not that makeup's a bad seller. Eddie does it and makes great money. But for me, it doesn't really work so well. And it's something that I would rather not put the time and effort into. So I have somebody that when I do get it, I can call. Don't mean to put his business out there, but he'll pay $1 an item for it, which doesn't, I'm not making a killing, maybe 11 cents per item.
But it's all gone.
But it's all gone all at once.
Right.
I don't have to worry about it. And now I can focus on the stuff that works for me.
Right.
Which is another important thing. I think one of the other things is like Chris, we mentioned with the appliances.
Right.
When I get appliances, I call Chris. When I get makeup, I call Eddie. When I get adult diapers, I call all the retirement homes. And then,
Well, talk about the gloves, right? We just talking about those.
How long have I had those, bro?
You had those for a minute, and I was just over there. About a month ago? Like, man, I don't know how you gonna get rid of these.
I want to say I've probably had those gloves for a year and a half. And finally,
and we talking about
they're powder-free vinyl gloves. They're food grade. They do have an expiration date. Luckily, they're still in date. But I've had those gloves, and I've tried every price point. They retail for about $10 a box, and I have over 100 cases. So that takes up a lot of space.
Heck yeah.
And just now, tomorrow morning, I'm going to sell all of those gloves for $750. So now I have money in my pocket. I called around to a local restaurant, and this isn't my first time calling either. I reached out to tattoo shops, restaurants. Nobody wanted them because they're like an oddball thing. You know, they're not the kind that they generally use. And
be truthful, you're not really like a quote unquote established business that sell these. So it's like, I don't know if I want to buy this from some guy.
Right, especially to deal with food or public safety.
So it's a hard sell.
It was a very hard sell. But man, I've moved them boxes more times than I want to talk about. I'm getting ready to load them all up again tonight and go move
for the last time.
And go move them again tomorrow, and we're done with it.
I know that's right.
And that's another example of sticking to the process, having some kind of plan, and just sticking with it. So even when it gets hard, you still have to work hard.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, it does pay off. God or whoever you believe in rewards hard work. You reap what you sow. And you know, hard work, honesty, fairness, a little personality does go a long way.
I wish Birdie was here because that's your mascot.
Oh, Birdie!
You know, I put Birdie in the video.
So I have a dog. He's usually always with me. We had an incident a few weeks ago, so now he's no longer allowed to come to work with me. And that's unfortunate, but it's part of that's one of the sacrifices I'm talking about, man.
He was with you all the time.
My dog sacrifices. But it's important to be able to put the business first. And even when something happens that you don't agree with, which I'll run into that real quick. One of the hardest lessons I had to learn in this is that I'm the only person that doesn't know anything because I'm not a customer, right?
Right.
So what I think is going to be a good seller a lot of times has turned out to be a bad seller. Eddie can verify with the baby food.
Right.
Man, there was a baby food shortage across America.
We thought those things were going to fly off the shelf, didn't we?
I thought I was going to be good. I thought for sure. I said, yeah, I'll take my jet and baby glue. I'm out. And I couldn't give those away. Nobody wanted them.
Yeah, I know. That was weird, man.
And then there's other times where I'll look at an item and I'm like, man, this item's junk. It's never going to sell. And people go crazy over it. Like food is a very good example of that.
Remember I was telling you about the food and you really never wanted to bother with it.
I still don't love it.
I mean, you ain't a super advocate of it, but
I'm not a super advocate of it. but it sells. And so in the 4 years I've been doing this, I've had like 2 fights break out, and it's both over food. Man, people will break bones over good deals on food. So that was another example of, I don't know. You can't know what the customer, how they're going to react. I think a lot of times they don't know. It's this is a big version of the impulse aisle. There's nothing in this store that is life-sustaining, that you need on a daily basis. The benefit to it is when you come in and buy it, it will be half price, so you'll save some money.
And you always work with people, so honestly, with you, it's most of the time it's less than that.
Most of the time, it's less than that.
Especially if they spending some money,
price,
right?
And we talked about it earlier today. If that TCL soundbar system doesn't sell for 50, if it doesn't sell for 40, if it doesn't sell for 35, for 30, it'd be right in that dollar.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me you ain't running a storage business?
I am not trying to hold on to any products. You want everything to sell regardless of what it sells at, which circles back to what you were asking me. What do I think the biggest mistake people make is they hold on to the idea that because Walmart had it priced at this price that they should be able to get that price.
Yeah, that's a super important point, man.
The item is only worth what somebody is willing to pay.
Right.
And if an item sits around for too long, you have to be willing to let it go.
Right.
If it's not moving fast, you have to sell it at the price where it will move fast.
Right.
Which
bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, right?
Right. And I cannot go pay my rent with a TCL soundbar, but I can with $1. So if I have to sell that for $1, I'm going to sell it for $1. Obviously, that's not my first goal. You have to try every step. Post it online. Put it in the store. Which means you might interact with one product on a few different platforms. Or in my case, you might have to move them boxes of gloves 40, 50 times until you find a buyer.
Yeah.
And you just have to be willing to do that.
I mean, and you do something else that a lot of people don't do. You utilize other people that can come into the store, take pictures, and put your stuff up for you.
Right.
And like they like contract. You get them a commission. You want to talk about that a little bit?
I have commission-based employees. Is some unfortunate fact. You can argue if you want, blow up Eddie's channel. Don't call me, I'll call you. But women do better online sales. Obviously, if you're a man watching this video, you know why women do better.
Yeah, that's just a fact.
And for a woman will trust a woman over a man. So they feel safer buying off of a woman. And for that reason, I tend to get women to work for me, to come in, take the pictures, post it online, and they do better than I would. Same product.
Yeah.
There's nothing different. The only difference is a woman's post.
Thing been sitting there for 6 months. She posted up. It's going, right?
It's gone right away. And I have 4 different girls that work for me that all have different models. So one of them will post on Facebook Marketplace. Actually 2 of them post on Facebook Marketplace. One of them has... I don't know if this is duplicated. I don't know if you can duplicate it, but she does it. It works really well. She's Puerto Rican, and Puerto Ricans have like a secret Facebook community.
Right.
I know I'm white, but I happen to know about it because I know a Puerto Rican. If you don't know a Puerto Rican or there's none in your community, you can't get in. But she has access to it, so she goes and pulls the pictures off my Facebook page, posts it to the group, and sells like crazy. And then I have other people that do like maybe eBay, and I'm looking to expand. I want someone on Poshmark. I want someone on every market, at least one person on every market.
And that frees up your time. They get to make a little money in between. You ain't got to put in the effort of doing all the work on those platforms, and works out for everybody.
My cash flow.
Yeah, which is important, right? Cash flow.
Cash flow is so important. Obviously, we have bills. Obviously, there's expenses to this. But the main thing cash flow does is increases my buying power. So that way, you get a better deal the more you buy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more pallets that you buy, the more variety you're going to get. So I go once a week. It's about 45-minute drive. Plus, it takes time to load and unload. So we're not talking a quick, easy process.
Right. Right.
But it's still worth it for the business if I do that. The truck's full right now. I close at 6 o'clock. It's probably a little after 5 right now. I have kids waiting for me, dinner waiting for me, other work waiting for me. When that's done, I'm going to have to come back here, unload the truck, be ready to, get cardboard out of here like we talked about earlier.
Right.
There's several steps to this job. And what I do is, Eddie's going to laugh, but Henry Ford is like my favorite person. If I could go hang out with anybody, it'd be Henry Ford, smartest person ever. So what I tried to do is I tried to industrialize the process by breaking it into steps. I'll do one part of the process one day, the next part the next day, or later on or something. A lot of people I see, every single box they take off the truck, they're opening to see what's in the box.
Right.
That takes a lot of extra time. I just unload the boxes. They're going to get open anyway, right?
Yeah.
I do one at a time. I don't just focus on the items. Obviously, everyone wants to see if there's gold in there or whatever the
I mean, it's already bought. If it's there, it's there. If it ain't, it ain't. So you might as well just wait, right?
It's there. It's safe. Instead of wasting my time trying to find that item, I focus on getting that step of the process done, and then I move on to the next step, which is opening it, processing it. If it's an item that goes on a shelf or hangs, and like I said, I have the store broken down to where there's sections, so whatever comes out of that box, I have somewhere to put it right away.
Well, I'm sure you found that not doing that is actually detrimental because it wastes more time, and with all the work you got to do, you can't afford to not have a process, right?
Yeah, I think process, again, Henry Ford, is the most important part of this. You have to have a system for everything by breaking it down to the simplest factor. If I go buy one pallet, I have no control over what's on the pallet. I have no control over the size, shape. I don't know what's going to be in there, the value. I don't know anything. Because all I know is I'm going to have a bunch of products. I know those products are going to be different shapes and sizes. And I think, over the years, I've learned that's learned behavior from the customers, is that I need to have a place for everything to go. There's customers here right now. Luckily, she's somebody that comes every day and she's used to me.
Right.
But if you have if you have boxes out here, they will not shop at your store until they know what's in there.
I know you said that.
The mentality is the same as what you may experience. There's something in there that's amazing. I
need to know what it is.
And I don't care if I open that box and Hoffa's in there. He going on the shelf. You know what I mean? I don't care what's in those boxes. Is all I care about is getting the work done. It's going to sell no matter what it is. I don't know the price point it's going to sell at, but I know it will sell.
Right.
Somebody asked me the other day, how do you sell the hard to sell stuff? I drop the price. I drop the price until it sells. And a lot of people want to hold on to the idea that eventually they're going to get that money. And I don't want to discourage you and say you won't get that money. It's going to take you longer.
So the most important thing is to sell stuff.
The most important part of the process is to sell. Right. You don't want to be hanging on to stuff. Now you're going, see me on Hoarders? No thanks. I want to be on Fortune 500, on Forbes or something.
Yeah.
And in order to get there, I have to be selling stuff. I can't. No one's on Forbes for hoarding, for waiting until they get this high value item out. Man, you go out of business. You especially if you're just starting out. There's only so much, let's just say you double your money on a good day. That doesn't include the broken stuff, the hard to sell stuff. Some stuff can be a really hard sell, and you might, like the gloves or like the adult diapers, you might have to sit on that stuff for a while. In the meantime, every month you're going to have bills, right?
Yeah.
As those bills, if you drag that process out, the bills are going to eat away at your profit. Now you're doing all this work for nothing. So it is very important to have that system of selling stuff, have that mentality. For other people just getting started, I think something very important to say is don't buy these pallets and become a customer. What's that old thing? Don't get high on your own supply.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Because that eats away at the profit. The same items that you're going to want are going to be the fast-selling items that everybody's going to want. Those items are where you should have your biggest markup. You should try to get 50-60% out of it, and you're going to. And people aren't going to argue because it's half price. If it's a rare, super rare thing, go a little bit higher. But that should be like 4 items out of every pallet.
Right.
The rest of the stuff you're going to have to work for. You know, it's not going to be a quick, easy sell on everything. You're only going to get a few cool items on every pallet that you buy. So it's important that you don't keep those cool
And that's
items.
what we was talking about, turnover, right? The fact that you got to keep the inventory coming in and going out and coming in and going out, because you're going to have some good stuff, you're going to have some bad stuff. But the only way you can really make this business work is by continuing that flow, right? And keep selling.
The flow is super important. That's what, like I said, cash flow is super important. It lets me get back. When I started off, I might go buy pallets. It might be a couple months before Jeff gets to see me again.
Right.
Now I'm out there pretty much every week.
Right.
So what that does for me is I get to see more of what he has to offer, because his inventory is always changing. So, you know, I might go out there this week on Monday and he's got Sam's Club, .com, Target pallets. I go next Monday, he might have some Walmart, he might have some other providers, Amazon stuff that wasn't there the week before.
And you got to keep the interest of your buyers too, right? You don't want your customers coming in seeing the same thing week after week, because if so, then they're going to stop coming, right?
And if that is happening to you, that's a sign that you have to drop your prices. If your inventory is not moving fast enough, it's because you don't have enough foot traffic, or your prices are too high.
And then they'll probably think, well, if nobody else bought it, why should I buy it, right? This been here for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Which is another reason why flow is so important. It keeps new stuff on the shelves. People like to support when they see productivity, especially in this business where you might buy that item and it might not work. You're not going to buy it from the guy that might not be in business next month.
And you need to create some FOMO, right? Like fear of missing out. Like, well, dang, every time he gets something, it's gone. I better act now or I might miss out too, you know?
I would say that's something that kind of naturally happened. The customers started noticing it before I did, which I think is a very important thing that I kind of touched on, but I didn't give it its due importance. Listen to your customers. Everybody that comes in will have a different opinion, so I don't want to tell you if one person comes in and says do this, drop what you're doing and change everything. But if you hear that 10, 15, 20 times, do it. Absolutely do it. Because it's something that you're missing, and the end goal is you want to sell stuff. It's something that helps me is I do Facebook Live videos. I do sales all the time. If you go back to the bins that are $1, I do something called a fill-a-bag sale, which is unheard of for a discount store. That's more common in bin store models. But you have to grab what works from different areas, and your marketplace might be different. People might get offended because you do fill-a-bag sales. I don't know. But that's an example of listening to your customers.
You got to do what you got to do to make it happen,
You got to do, and it helps move inventory. I'm telling you, bro, all rationale goes out the window when you do fill-a-bag. You can put anything in there, and they're gonna take it because it's fill-a-bag. I used to have penny bins. People, they'd be fill-a-bag for $10. They come fill it with penny bin stuff. They can't think because they're like, get the bargain, hurry up, get it. Oh my God, this is never gonna happen again. And that's the kind of excitement you want to instill into your customers, and they will buy other stuff. And then once you establish yourself as being fair, being honest, the customers will get more used to you. They'll be more comfortable buying a higher value item because they know they can return it if something's wrong, or
for sure,
they know that you're going to be fair with them, which is something to overcome in this business. A lot of boxes have box damage or have I don't see any right now, but I would be willing to bet that there's one somewhere.
Yeah, and you can't be a jerk if there's a problem and they come back and you're like, well, so I don't know if you opened that.
Box right here, it's ripped, it's damaged. It could be missing pieces. Oh, this is what I was looking for. Of course, it's not there right now, but this is a return receipt. It might say damaged. It might say does not work.
Right.
And that's going to be discouraging for a customer. They're not going to want to buy something that says does not work. And what that's what I mean by education, is you need to explain to the customers, hey, have you ever returned anything to Walmart? And everyone's like, yeah. And they just put generic codes on stuff. So because it says it doesn't work, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. That means it was returned.
Right. They're not going to test it. They just, whatever the customer said to them, that's kind of what they put in.
Whatever the customer says, that's what it is, and we're done.
Right.
But on the back end of that, it might still work. So after so long of being fair with people, they'll say, oh, okay, I'll buy this.
Right.
Your option is you can either pull it out of the box, test it, and take the sticker off, or you can do what I do, just have an honest return policy. That does leave me open to scammers. It hasn't been a problem yet, at least not that I know of. Maybe people do buy stuff off of me and swap it out with something and bring it back. I don't get a lot of returns. Most of the time the stuff works. And I've noticed, over time, customers have been more patient because they're buying it at a discounted price. They will be more understanding if it's maybe missing a quarter.
And really, honestly, who's going to buy something that's possibly defective if they can't even return it, right? They already taking a chance.
Right.
So if they can't return, it's like, yeah, bro, I'm not doing that.
On the lower value items, I think they would be okay with it. They might still, and I would max that out at probably the dollar section, honestly. No one is buying something for $25 or $50 with the idea that if something's wrong, it's their problem.
Right, for sure.
It shouldn't be their problem. And though I can't be held personally for why it doesn't work, the one thing I do have a choice in is whether or not I'm going to be fair to the customer. Do I want them to come back? Is it worth it for me to sell this for $50 and say no returns and never see that customer again?
Well, not only that, have them spread the word about how they got something from you that was garbage and they couldn't bring it back. You know what I mean? That'd be all over the Facebook and everything.
Social media is crazy.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is give somebody ammunition to use against you. By not returning it or by arguing with people, maybe charging too much. These are all things that I hear all the time. Well, I go out to this other guy that does this, but his prices are too high and he won't bargain.
Right.
Or this guy, he only has expired food, which is what I mean by having a variety of stuff, or being open to making your customer
And they talk
happy.
about how some people just plain old jerks, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, some people just suck. I mean, I have bad days, I try not to take it out on my customers. That being said, I've had to be stern with people sometimes.
For sure. It's a difference, though.
There is a difference, but I don't make my personal life their problem.
Right.
I try to greet everybody, ask them some kind of personal question like, how are you doing? I try to remember people's names, which is something that's just a good rule of thumb anyway. People like to feel important.
Right.
They like to talk about whatever it is that interests them. And that's making them feel comfortable in your store.
You're giving away a lot of gems, man. Psychology, customer service, making a connection with people. So it's more to it than just the products and selling stuff. So you got to go that. If you want to be successful, that's the beginning of just having the stuff to sell. But to go to the next level, it's more like about having those interactions with people and creating those connections, right?
And what I do is I just kind of monitor what the big box retailers do. They spend millions of dollars a year to figure out this psychology and how things work and shelf placement and things like this. Why would you not follow what's already paid for?
Yeah, seriously.
They have door greeters for a reason. What's that reason? I don't fucking know. But I know customers like it, and I know they're doing it because customers like it. So then when customers walk in my door, I greet them. I don't understand it, but I know that it's something that they value, so I know I should do it. I'll help people carry the bigger items out to their car, or I'll answer whatever question. Man, we were talking about this earlier. I probably have the same conversations with the same people
Right.
a couple hundred times a day,
Right.
over and over and over and over and over again. That can wear you out.
Yeah, for sure.
But what keeps me going is eye on the prize, growth. This is important. You never know when, and this is a rule of life, a rule of thumb I do in general, is I just try to be kind to people. You never know when someone's having a bad day. Brain's a crazy thing, man.
Yeah, seriously.
You want to try to be as friendly to everybody you meet as you can. That being said, if I don't have nothing nice to say, I just don't say nothing.
Right.
I'll just keep my mouth shut. I'll play on my phone or something. I'll do something to stay busy until I have that 10, 20 seconds, that minute to breathe, to where I can go give them that good experience.
That's good advice. That's good advice. And so, look, I ain't gonna keep too much longer. So to wrap it up, what advice do you give somebody who may be thinking about starting a retail, and this is specifically just getting into liquidation and doing a retail? Because I've talked to you about doing it myself, even though I haven't. What kind of advice do you got for people starting out and just going forward, like in the next year coming and things like that?
Find a trusted supplier. Go visit them. If they don't have a place where you could visit them, don't buy off of them. Don't buy offline without being, unless it's manifested. There are some good suppliers like B Stock, Overstock. You can buy directly from Amazon and Home Depot. You can buy pallets. Those pallets are okay to buy. I'm not knocking them, but if you're going to buy a truckload specifically, make sure that you can go check it out first. Don't just whip out a bunch of cash and buy something. I would say the likelihood of that working out will be very low. The next bit of advice I'm sure everyone's heard would be location, location, location. That might be number 2, 3, and 4. You want to have a good location, or at least, especially if you're just starting out, try to find a location that has good foot traffic. That's the biggest thing that helped me, was I was right next to a diner that got crazy busy.
Right.
So that got the word out. I probably have I have the active attention of, maybe 5,000-6,000 people. And I'm telling you, they know when I'm in the bathroom. They know, they watch early birds like hawks, and you want that. You want to have engagement. You want to be active on social media, because that's where people are. You want to monitor the times and know what's trending. You want to be able to be, just because you're 76 years old and you personally don't use TikTok, trust me, you want to be there. Your customers are.
Right.
You want to be where your customers are. You don't want to always just be selling. That is important. You always want to have products for sale. But, I'll post like funny memes, maybe educational stuff, maybe a video of me unboxing a pallet or something. That has all kinds of added benefits. I don't really understand the psychology behind it, but I know that people, if you're just one-dimensional, people will tune you out.
Yeah, no, I noticed your Facebook page. It's like more of a community type page. You know what I mean? So it's not just you posting things to try to sell to people. There's some personal interactions on there with people too.
All the time. I support other businesses.
Right.
If I have a good experience somewhere, I'll share that on Facebook. Or if I have a friend that's opening a business, I'll share that on Facebook. If I see something in the community that's helpful, like, I don't know, for example, hey, they're giving away free turkeys here, I'll post that, so it's not just all about me. As a matter of fact, very little of it's about me. I'm not the star of the show. The community is, and without customers, without the community, I'd be fixing computers on the road all the time.
For sure. All right, well, man, appreciate it. Appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again soon. Thanks.
All right, thanks.